Welcome everyone. Very nice to see you again. I hope these few weeks of the residency has been uh, nice and fulfilling. Especially this week, there was a lot of interesting tech classes, like the one with Isaac the other day. I'm sure you're gonna have enjoyed. Uh, Isaac is like really knowledgeable into the smart contracts space, which is great. I'm gonna share my full screen. It may be that if you experience any troubles with my voice coming and going, sometimes with this headset I have some issues when I'm sharing screen. Just let me know. Type in the chat. I'm gonna keep this one uh, as much informal as we can. I don't want to go too much into technical details, but I think every time we talk about hardware wallets, security, crypto wallets, um, there is a lot of misconception of what things are and how things works. So for the class of today, what I normally like to do is to spend a lot of time on a couple of key concepts of like what are crypto wallets, what is a crypto account, in order for everybody to understand better what they are using and how blockchain works. Because I think most of the problem that people are experiencing is because they don't understand what are the tools that they're using or what they are supposed to do, because of common misconception. Perfect. So at any time, if you have any questions you want to, feel free to interrupt me, type in the chat. I'm going to keep an eye into the chat. Yeah, and let's dive in. So as I said, we're going to discuss about crypto wallets. What are wallets? Let's say, like, when we talk about wallet, there is two types of wallet in general. One is the custodial wallets, similar to like Coinbase, Kraken, Binance, wallets from centralized exchange. And then we've got non-custodial wallets, MetaMask, Kukai, Ledger, you name it. When we talk about crypto wallets, we in general always talk about non-custodial wallets. Custodial wallets are things that centralized exchange have been introducing for their platforms, but is not nothing related to the revolution that the blockchain brought in, or how let's say like Bitcoin was let's say conceived. There was no centralized custody for wallets. So all we're going to talk about today is non-custodial wallets. And in general, when in crypto you talk about wallets, you always refer to non-custodial wallets. There is also like a say, very common says in like for the Bitcoin community or the crypto community in general, which is not your keys, not your coin. And we're going to understand a bit more. As you can see, there is this person here who has like the keys in his hand. So what is a wallet? A wallet is a very simple application who allows you to interact with your crypto account. It doesn't do much. Right now, we are used to think wallets, they do many things. They hold our NFTs. It's not true. Wallets are applications that allow us to interact with the blockchain, that allow us to interact with our crypto account. And I think this is the biggest concept that everybody should understand when we think about, where are their assets, how they can secure their assets, and what are they doing when they interact with their crypto wallet, whatever it may be. So a wallet does two things, nothing more. One, it stores your private keys, and then it's a transaction. So I'm just saying this one now. We're gonna go back to this slide after we discuss a lot of other things. But for now, this one is like something that like I'm gonna put it here. It's fine. Let's say it's not something you have to understand now, but it's something that, okay, just keep in mind. A wallet is a very simple application that does two things: store your private keys and sign transactions. So now we just need to understand what is a crypto account. Why a crypto account doesn't, like, what is let's say that we have to do with our crypto account. And also, in general, also whatever happens in blockchain, everything is very simple. Then we can create a lot of like other things around it, but also a crypto account is something that is extremely simple. If you think about a Bitcoin account or a Ethereum account or a Tezos account, is an entity which basically has a balance. Can let's say, like, you can how many coins, how many Bitcoin you've got, keeps your balance, and is able to send transactions. So let's say send Bitcoin and receive Bitcoin. That's it. This is what let's say, like, a crypto account is doing. A crypto account is made of two parts, which is like a public key and a private key. These one, both things in tandem, they create the account. One cannot exist without the other. So if we think about, let's say, like, how things are generated, like this one, like there is a cryptographic algorithm, which basically, like, you pass things into that algorithm, is going to spit out a private key and a public key that are linked to each other. The most important thing to understand is that there is the private key is called private key because you have to keep it private. And the public key is what we share to the world. This one is the most important thing about crypto accounts. You can think about a public key to your mailbox. It's something that you want everybody to know, because if somebody needs to send you a message, you want to give them an address where they can send a message. Okay, so this one is my mailbox. You need to send me a letter. Send me the letter there. What is a private key then? The private key is the key that opened the mailbox. Only you are the one who is supposed to open the mailbox, right? But you want people to be able to send you messages into your mailbox, but you want to be the only one who can, like, check what is inside the mailbox. And this, I think, is one of the best analogy to discuss about what is a public key and what is a private key. Let's dive into like an example as well. I always like to check to do things in real life. So for example, this is a Temple wallet that I recently created. So this one is our public key. This is our Tezos address that we want to share with the world. We're gonna say, hey, you want to send me one Tezos? Perfect, send it to this address. You want to send me one NFT? Send it to this address. What is a private key? The private key, normally we don't see it. It's not something that like we need to go and look for it. And and you can check in here. So now I'm gonna do something that for security reason we never want to do, but for the purpose of this example, we are gonna share what is a private key. You see, it's like an alphanumerical string of character, which is like a predetermined set of characters. And these two together, these two keys together, they create my crypto account. A bit of history of like how wallets are generated. At some point, people say that, hey, like, if I need to remember every public key and private key, if I need to save all these keys to open the boxes, it's going to be very difficult for me. I need to, like, keep a lot of information. So they started to with like this Bitcoin update. They started to use like a hierarchical deterministic wallet, which means from a master key, you can derive many other couple of private and public keys. So we said, okay, like we're gonna just take one master key and then boom, create 10, 20, 30,000 wallets out of it. So I just need to remember one key to access all the other keys. They're a derivation of this one. But as you see, this alphanumerical string is also very difficult to store, very difficult to type, very difficult to use and to understand. So they introduced another update that is what let's say like is called like BIP 39, and is what we normally now call a seed phrase. This is like a mnemonic phrase. So what they did, they said, okay, why don't we find a way to specify specific bits of information in an alphabet that we can recognize and know. So we're using a mnemonic alphabet, a set of like predetermined words. You can basically compile a list of words and derive out of it a string of characters. So something like these, like set of like 12 words, is gonna then result into a master key. How does this happen to concretize? Like how does this happen to like into the real world? So I'm gonna just keep using temple as an example, and we're gonna see like all the different components. And again, what I'm doing, which is like showing sensitive information on a video, or storing it on a notepad, or even recording this class, is definitely what you don't have to do for your security. But so when we create a new wallet, basically we generate this seed phrase, right? So like it's gonna be like a set of words that we're gonna save here in our notepad for now. Yeah, do not try this at home, exactly. And now we did it, and then we're gonna say, okay, like I want to check that I saved it. With any solution and cute. Perfect. So now what we just did, we just created our master key. We just created, from our seed phrase, we created a key that is able now to generate a lot of accounts, a lot of crypto accounts. Each one of these is a crypto account. So I'm gonna put a simple password. Perfect. So right now, our seed phrase created this account, but it didn't create only this account. Actually, it was able to create thousands of couples of private key and public key pairs. So right now, you see like I can create a lot of accounts, and it's not asking me like to save my seed phrase again. How can it? How can this happen? Because of I have this master key, which is my seed phrase, is able to generate all these other private key and public key. But we say that each account is as a public address and a private address. So if we look for account 1 and we go to check his private key, is this one, and I'm gonna put it on another note here. And we are gonna go and check account 2 now. And is here. Okay, and we I don't know if you can see clearly from my screen share, but even though they seems to start in the same way, they are very different characters, right? What does this mean? It means that if I want to access account 1, I can access it with this private key. If I want to access account 2, I can access it with this different private key. And what about the seed phrase that we saved before. Actually, this seed phrase, we can call it our, again, master key, is able to access all the different accounts. So just to sum it up again, we've got our crypto accounts are what we use to keep a balance and send coins and send transaction. And then how can we do that? How can we interact with the blockchain in our crypto account? Perfect. We can do it thanks to a wallet, because a wallet is basically able to interact with the blockchain with our crypto account. How can a wallet sign something and say, hey, you can do this this bit of action, you can do this transfer, you can mint this NFT, because a wallet is basically storing our private keys. So because it has the private keys, it can then, saying, hey, transfer these bitcoins to from A to B, or mint this NFT, or I allow you to spend my coins. So I can sign it because this private key is into the wallet. If you want to dive into a bit more, I'm going to put this in the chat. It's not something that you have to do now, but if you want to understand a bit more how everything is possible, this is a very simple video that talk about asymmetric encryption and explains a bit how is it possible that why it is secure, for example, that nobody can access our inbox, and how all this technology can exist. It is because asymmetric encryption, basically. But I don't want to go, as I said, a bit too technical. So right now, there is something else that I want to show you, which is right now I'm gonna have two accounts. Right, I'm gonna put account. These are the accounts we just generated right now together with all this information here, right? And before I prepared another wallet, and I did put like a little bit of like Tezos in it. Perfect. I put like one Tezos into account 1 and one Tezos into account 2. So these are two different seed phrases, two different root, two different master keys, and we've got two accounts from this root, two accounts from this root. Now, if I want to have access to this account specifically, I just need to have this account private key. And I'm going to show you how we can do it. For example, if I import an account and I say that I want to import the private key of this account, let's actually do it so we don't make mistake. Okay, so now I have this account 6, which is just a number account, is actually the same account here. So right now, you see this is the same account. It's the same one Tezos in it, same one Tezos. So right now, whoever has the private key has access to this account number 1 that I created in here. And I can do anything to stop them to do any action. If they want to transfer in, transfer out, mint NFTs, whatever, they can do it. They have full, complete access of this crypto account. Do they have it also on account number 2? No, of course not. Even if I create a new account, you see it has 0 here because it's not related. Because the only information that this person knows, the green person here, you can see from the green Google Chrome, he only knows the private key of the account number 1. But what happens if I basically have my seed phrase exposed. If I have my seed, if I give my seed phrase to somebody else, and let me just see, because I saved this one before somewhere. Yeah, here. So this one, we said the red account had all this bit of information, and this one, which was the green account, had another bit of information. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just log out from our account. If I remember how to do it. Maybe lock here. And I'm gonna import a wallet using a seed phrase. I'm gonna just create a password. The password is something that is completely irrelevant. The only bit of information that is important is always your seed phrase, your mnemonic phrase, your master key. So right now, the green user suddenly have access to account 1, but also account 2. Oh, let me see. Yes, you see that there is 2 Tezos here and 2 Tezos here. Yeah. So I have the full access of all the accounts. And even if I create account number 3, the same account is happening in here, right? So we've seen what is a crypto account, what is a public key, what is a private key, what is a seed phrase. How does this all relate to hardware wallet, security, and what we are doing on the blockchain? It is very important to understand where your valuables are stored. So your valuables are not stored into MetaMask, are not stored into a ledger or a Trezor, a physical as a piece of device. If you lose your device, you don't lose your NFTs. Because your NFTs, your cryptocurrencies, your any kind of token you want to imagine right now. Now we've got also, I don't know, ordinals and stuff on Bitcoins. They are stored into the blockchain. And this, especially, you know, they have like somebody who is like the owner of those tokens. And this owner is your crypto account. And how do you access your crypto account? With your private key. So as we said before, a wallet does 2 things: store your private keys and sign transactions. So now when we say like, where are your coins NFT stored? They're stored in my crypto account. I don't have any problems if, you know, my MetaMask, if I don't know, reset my computer now, because my real accounts, they are stored off chain, you know, in a secure matter. Why is it that when you create an account, as we did with Temple right now, it was asking me, hey, you need to keep these seed phrase very safe. Why it asks, hey, like, can you make sure you write it? I give you a little test. Tell me these words. Because this is the master key to all your crypto accounts, to all your belongings. It's the only way that you can access these informations, these valuables. There is no other way. If you lose your seed phrase, if you lose your private keys, nobody can help you. Of course, there is pros and cons about it. Some people doesn't want the level of responsibilities. Some people are happy to say, hey, I'm gonna go to Coinbase, which is a centralized exchange. We're gonna keep my coins and I'm happy. I'm happy to, for the bank to keep my coins. Some other people says, I want to have ownership of my digital assets, and I want to make sure that only I'm in control. Nobody can seize my cryptocurrencies, my tokens. Nobody can take my tokens out of me. Not the bank, not Coinbase, not the SEC. Nobody. Because I am the one in control. Because I am the owner of my private keys. So what is the difference between hot wallet, cold wallets, hardware wallets? Why everybody says you need to have hardware wallets to be secure? It is because of where it is stored, your private key. Right now, we did something that is not safe at all, which is like, I don't know, put it in our computer. We typed, copied, paste, everything that we do have a digital signature in our devices. So if I, for example, save this, as I did, this residency test text in Notepad, even if I delete it, I have, and I erased this, everything that is on this hard drive, I'm able to recover it. And any skilled technical person is able to recover files that are deleted. So even if I think I'm deleting this bit of information, somebody who has access is going to be able to access it. So how do we define something that is an hot wallet? A hot wallet is something that is exposed to a digital footprint, to basically somebody that can be accessed. Why? Because it's connected to the internet, for example, or is because it is stored in your device. So how do you think Temple here is able to sign transaction? Because Temple is storing our private key into this app. Yes, there is a few countermeasures that it does. It's not like in plain sight, but it is on your computer. So if it is on your computer and somebody has access to your computer, it is exposing to a risk. Even more, if your computer is connected to the internet, so somebody can come, let's say, and steal your private key. Let's say it's not very simple, don't be alarmed, but it's just a matter of there is a strong sense of vulnerability. And what about cold wallets? Cold wallets, instead, they store the private key in a device or in a piece of paper or in somewhere that is not connected to the internet, is not connected, let's say, in a way that can be exposed. So what are the safest cold wallets? Paper wallets. For this kind of wallet is what is called a paper wallet. So there is is saved, the information are saved on paper. What other kind of wallets we've got? We've got hardware wallet, like for example, Ledger, has different hardware wallet. How does it put our private key in a better place? Because of the way hardware wallets are designed, private keys are saved into this device, and the communication between your computer and the hardware wallet never expose your private key. So your computer, the internet, nobody would ever be able to know what is your private key. And something else to consider, it is when you, for example, type something on your computer, there is a digital footprint as well on the typing, but with a hardware wallet, you're not gonna type. Normally wallets, we have you see a couple of buttons. We don't have buttons because you don't type things. easily. You just set like inputs in a different way. We're gonna have a look in a bit how to set it up. But this is the biggest concept, the most powerful concept that you can understand. How to secure your wallets, how to secure your belongings, how to interact with the blockchain, and how to be at a peace of mind, because you know that you did things in the most secure way, is understanding how things works. If anybody has any questions at any point, feel free to let me know. I know it's a lot of, I've been talking for a while already. The concepts are simple, but it takes a bit of time to like understand how everything works. So actually, now let's do this one first. So how do I set up an hardware wallet? For example, we're gonna take an example of a ledger. And I think if you do ledger start, there was a nice video somehow. Or maybe I'm gonna do like this one. Perfect. So I'm not gonna like spend too much time into this because it's something that you have to do at your own time. But I just want to give you the idea of how things are working and why are these safe and what are the different options of storing private keys that we can have on a ledger. So let's see if we can see the device itself. Perfect. So you see like Visa is a hardware wallet, and you can, when you connect it, you see it has only two buttons, for example, in here to interact with your computer. Why? Basically because it just sent signals of like, yes, up, down, up, down, up, down. If you don't know what is displayed into this display, you're never going to be able to know what information are into the wallet. You just, if let's say that somebody is like checking, oh, what is this person clicking in this other wallet? It's just, I don't know, up, down, up, down, up, down. So I cannot really know what is happening, So as soon as you connect it, you're gonna just have to download, for example, an application like a Ledger Start that is gonna ask you to create a PIN. The PIN is what similar to the password that we have on our Temple wallet, MetaMask wallet. The PIN is something that is for you to, have access to it, to add a layer of protection, but it's not the key bit of information, because the key bit of information is always our seed phrase or our master key. And so similarly to how Temple Wallet created a 12-word sentence for us, a seed phrase, Ledger is going to do the same. Usually Ledger, they do it with 24 words. You can have 36 words or whatever. Vision is called like recovery phrase, seed phrase. There are different ways to call it. So what it's going to do now is going to show you those words, and they say, like to start, copying, writing down those words on a piece of paper. So as you see right now, there is no way your private key, your master key, your mnemonic seed phrase has been exposed to your computer, because right now it's on a display in your Trezor wallet, in your Ledger wallet, or it's going to be on a piece of paper because you're writing it down. So once you're gonna have these like 24 let's say like word seed phrase, then like right now it's gonna generate the same couple of pairs. It's gonna generate the same public and private key pairs. So it's gonna be exactly the same process of what we did with Temple, no difference, but it's just not exposing your master key to the internet, to your computer, keeping it safe. So that means that the only way for people to access your private keys is to either steal and hack a ledger, which is already like quite complicated, or get those piece of paper, right? There is no way that can like do it on the internet and things like that. And so right now we go back to the point of what is a wallet doing is just storing our master key to our seed phrase. So there are different ways you can configure a hardware wallet. One way is which is the most secure way, is to just create a new seed phrase and create a complete new set of accounts. Another way, you may want to import into your hardware wallet an existing account. Maybe it's from another ledger. Maybe it's from a MetaMask account that you want to like move out from your computer. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna just put into the ledger device, you're gonna put these seed phrase. And exactly as we did with Temple, changing from user red to user green, you're gonna basically be able to access that account or to store safely your private key into your hardware wallet. So there are different ways you can like add levels of security. For example, a good way is to have a system where you have a hot wallet that you use for day-to-day interactions, or like things that you have to do, like and exposing to the internet, and then having a hardware wallet where you keep your valuables, that you keep your belongings, and the only action that you do with that hardware wallet is to maybe transfer things in and out from with this hot wallet. This is a good way to keep a high level of security. So there is normally, you just transfer things in and out. I was speaking with a few people that they said, "Oh, I didn't know when I started my journey into, I don't know, NFTs or blockchain or crypto or whatever. I didn't know how things work, and now I have a lot of assets into this hot wallet, into this MetaMask wallet. What is the best way to secure them? How can I transfer my NFT?" There is different ways. One is to like transfer the NFT from one account to another one. But let's say I was speaking with somebody who had 2,000 NFTs, and he said, "Phil, if I'm gonna transfer 2,000 NFTs, it's gonna cost me a fortune, because network fees, etc., etc." With Tezos, reason normally doesn't happen, but with ETH or other blockchains, it can be like a burden, So one way that you can transfer and secure asset is to remove your MetaMask account from your computer as much as you can, and not use that anymore and store it into your ledger. So like Vision, you transferred all your NFT into your ledger, but because you didn't transfer your NFT, you transfer your account, right? Your account is now saved into the ledger. So it's kind of important to know how that having a ledger, having a hardware wallet does not save you for being compromised to what are the most common phishing attempts, scams attempt, etc., etc. Because when you interact with any application or any marketplace or whatever that interact with your wallet, anyway, you have to sign a transaction, do something. So if you sign a transaction with your hardware wallet, is the same that signing a transaction with your MetaMask account. The only thing that the hardware wallet does is keeping your seed phrase safe, But if I connect my hardware wallet here and I sign the transaction with my hardware wallet, is the same as what I'm doing with my Temple wallet. There is no difference at all. So if I have a fake object.com website which says, hey, I don't know, click here to connect and mint your NFT, and I click, and then instead of minting is, I don't know, transferring my valuables or draining my wallet, and I click on it with my hardware wallet, is going to be the same, because you're using your hardware wallet to sign a transaction. So very important to understand what you can and what you cannot do, and how you want to making sure that what you do, it doesn't expose yourself, your private key, or your assets to malicious attempt. So I think you've been very, very quiet. I don't know if it's because I was extremely boring, or because you are more confused than ever. Maybe I'm gonna give you a couple of seconds if somebody wants to chime in. If somebody want to you can chat, like voice chat, you can type things. Yes, I understand it can be a bit overwhelming. It is because mainly what we are used to call a thing like a wallet to have our physical analogy of a wallet. Because a wallet, it's, I don't know, if I lose my wallet, I lose the money that are inside. So our analogy is that. If you think about it, even the transfer of the NFT is not really a transfer. Maybe if you use any let's check, I don't know, like any smart contract. No, I'm not gonna show you, but I'm gonna tell you like briefly. So if you transfer an NFT, you don't transfer anything. You just change the owner into this bit of information that is in the blockchain. So the blockchain says this NFT exists, and the owner is I don't know, user red. If I transfer the NFT to user green, is not really transferring the NFT. The NFT is not moving. It's just that in the blockchain, I'm gonna say, oh, now the new owner is this address. So there is no movement of assets. It's just that you update a record. That's why, the blockchain is safe. It is like an immutable ledger, because it's just a I don't know, think it as a very big spreadsheet. So we are used to, it's difficult for us to associate those concepts, because we are used to different meanings. Developers have been doing, let's say, like calling things in a certain way to facilitate people to understanding. But yeah, like it's a bit different from what it is in reality. So now I'm gonna just read again. So Nominal is saying, I would love to better understand how to transfer a crypto account from a hot wallet to a ledger. Let's dive into a bit more into it. So actually, MetaMask, how to recover seed phrase. They had a very good guide in the past. Which it was, maybe not this one. Yeah, for example. So Temple Wallet, MetaMask Wallet, and all the hardware wallets, browser-based wallets or hot wallets, they save your private key somewhere in your computer, right? So what you want to do, if you want to remove your private keys from here and transfer it to a better place, it is to first step making sure that you have your mnemonic phrase, your 12 words seed phrase saved in a piece of paper so you don't lose it, and then you should delete MetaMask from your browser. As we were saying, there is always a digital footprint, so the best thing is to reinstall MetaMask with another seed phrase and just, maybe a couple of times. So it's a bit more difficult to find the right digital footprint. And so in that way, what we do, we remove MetaMask, the private key, from our computer, from that MetaMask. And then what we do, we go to Ledger, and when we set up the Ledger in here, instead of saying, no, sorry, a bit earlier. Instead of asking us, let's say like, do you want to like create a new wallet or do you want to enter a wallet? And we're gonna just say here, yes, like enter, recover a phrase that I already have. You're gonna input with, and you're gonna input these 12 words in here or 24 words. And now your private key is gonna be secured into this ledger. But then how can you use it, right? If you want to like do any transaction or whatever, So then you can use the Ledger application like Ledger Live to do interactions, or you can connect the Ledger in here. And so like these, like into a new MetaMask. So you have a new MetaMask or a new Temple wallet, and then you have a secured ledger. So you remove first from your computer, create a new Temple wallet, fresh wallet that you know is going to be exposed, but you don't have any valuables there. Move the private key to the ledger and set up the ledger that can interact with your other account. I hope Nominal Vision explained a bit. Let me just see if there is anything. Whether wallet isn't cold storage if it's being used to mint. No, not really. Espinosa, it is still cold storage, but you're just exposing yourself to phishing attempt, which is a bit different. But yes, I want to check if there is any other. So something else on the same topic. Heather is saying, I have a ledger I use for crypto, but not for NFTs. I have too many NFTs to transfer. Transferring an entire MetaMask or Temple account is problematic because I also mint from my hot wallet. Yes. Error is because you have it is because you have everything into your I mean, you have your NFTs into your artist wallet, and you mint from your artist wallet. So you don't want to. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Yes. So Vision goes back to what Espinosa was asking, is that, do we understand correctly that a hardware wallet isn't called storage? No, I mean, your private key is going to be secured. Your private key is going to be safe. But if you sign transaction on a malicious website, they can still drain your wallet because you're signing a transaction. So normally what the hardware wallet should do is not exposing you to scammers, but not allowing that people get your private key. Normally, when people get scammed, they don't get their private keys. They just approve a transaction. Let me just do another example. Let's see. Okay. Let me just, sorry, just 1 second. I'm gonna show you exactly what I mean by approving a transaction. People are not gonna get my private key. And I'm gonna use an example. I'm gonna use OpenSea, and I'm gonna try to sell something on OpenSea. Let's see. Perfect. Okay, let's say that I want to sell this beautiful piece of artwork that I collected. Let's say that I want to list it for sale for, I don't know, 1 ETH or whatever. So right now it's saying, do you want to allow access to transfer Oriole voyages? So right now, what I'm doing, I'm signing a transaction that is allowing OpenSea to do something, transfer my NFTs. So that means that even if it's on my hardware wallet and I sign the transaction, my NFT is gonna get transferred anyway, right? So that's why it is not relevant, the hardware wallet compared to phishing if you are using this one. How does most normal scam works? They pretend to be a fake website. I had a friend who one day they recreated the art block website exactly the same, and there are ways where you can use like ASCII letters on here that looks like it is a L, but it's not an L. It's a different characters, right? So they recreated the art blocks website exactly the same. The website was artblocks.io, looking exactly the same. And they said, oh, you have, I don't know, more friendship bracelet to mint because you're a holder, right? And what they did, they connected and they said, oh, do you want to mint? Yeah, of course I want to mint. Like, and they clicked and they gave like authorization, and boom, and they took all, let's say like the art blocks NFTs in a single transaction that were into that, because it was like approving a thing, So it is very simple, like a hardware wallet would have not prevented that, because you will be like this, the person would have been, yes, of course I want to mint my friendship bracelet from the Art Blocks official website. Yes, I signed the transaction, So what a hardware wallet does is, if let's say like somebody has, I don't know, access to your computer, they're not gonna be able to, from the internet, from a physically, they're not gonna be able to to get your private keys to access your accounts. Uh, Even if they access your ledger, probably they're not going to be able to do it, because it's, unless they're a very technical person and very skilled, and it looks like there is a way to do it, but it takes weeks or something, um so this is the only thing, like keeping your private key safe, that is different from like being safe from scams. uh Going back to, should we be using Ledger Live for anything? Yes, Ledger Live, it is an application that you use for interact with your ledger without using, for example, MetaMask or so. Actually, you have to use it anyway. So your computer interact with Ledger. And you can use it also to, like, to send transaction, transfer funds without connecting it to any other wallet. Basically, is another Ledger Live is like another application that allows you to send transaction and sign transaction for certain matters, see your balance, etc. Connect to MetaMask, etc. So it is correct what Pavel is saying about two-factor authenticator physical key is always good. Definitely what an hardware wallet is doing is to saving you, asking you, hey, do you want to confirm this transaction? You have to click on the hardware wallet. So gives you one more step, give you one more occasion to think about what you're doing. Yeah, that's just in general, don't do things in rush, take your time, verify. When you connect to something, um, there are ways to do things. For example, you see, like now they put a lot of like uh, other information, and when you're like doing this one and connecting, is also like asking, like, I don't know, to do certain transaction and stuff, So there are a lot of other possibilities here to verify. Let's go back to OpenSea. If I want to list it again, complete my listing. It says, for example, what do you want to do here? You can like check which is the contract that you are interacting with, what is the request. You can see if the contract is the verified contract. There are ways that you can just, yes, exactly, Spinoza, beware of FOMO. Vision is a space where FOMO is like, and in general, anything that is too good to be true, it never is. Yeah, check the Voyages collection. Is a beautiful set of photography collection. While we are here, $5 range attack. Yes, that is the most powerful attack ever existing, which is why it is not safe for people to travel with hardware wallets, or to a lot of people, they want to be anonymous or keep their identity very secret, because people can like target you if they know that you are wealthy, and they know that they can extort money to you. It's very simple to do it. Yeah, so definitely uh, not simple for certain people to go around if they know that they're extremely wealthy and they have a large amount of wealth on the blockchain. Uh, Can I have my Tezos wallet address on Ledger Live? Yes, of course you can, Evelyn. The way you do it is to use the same seed phrase of your Tezos wallet. Let's say if it is a Kukai wallet, if use the same seed phrase of your Kukai wallet and put it into your ledger, and then it's gonna be the same. It's gonna be your wallet address on Ledger. But please remove it from like your browser or your Temple wallet, because otherwise it's gonna defeat the purpose of moving it on a ledger. I think somebody else asked earlier, what are the most common mistakes that people does? Yes, most common mistake is to transfer your MetaMask account into a hardware wallet and have it on the same time on your hardware wallet on your computer, which is defeat the purpose. Save your seed phrase on a file on your computer, on Google Cloud, on Apple Cloud, on the notes of your phone. These are the most common mistake to get hacked or to get your seed phrase exposed. Don't put your seed phrase, don't give your seed phrase to anyone, don't put it online ever. This is the most common thing that can happen. So many artists targeting scams, like the fake super rare email going around. Yes. Yes, I was funny enough, I was chatting with somebody maybe like 1 hour ago. Well, 1 hour ago, like 2 hours ago now. But they asked me, do you know this collector? Is it a legit collector? That somebody that was asking, I really want to purchase this NFT that is not on sale from you, artist. Please set up the sale straight away on Foundation. I'm gonna buy it. And we were very pressing, and so they're like, hey, why this suddenly this collector want to buy it? And basically the strategy of this collector was to basically say, hey, after you list it, now that you list it, I cannot buy it. Use this platform instead of Foundation, and it was like a wallet drainer. Yeah, Evelyn, sorry to hear about you've been victim of a phishing attempt or a scam. It sucks. It sucks. People are very clever and very, how can I say, resourceful to create anything and put us in a weaker position. I think that's why it's very important to understand how to secure our wallets, what to sign and what not to sign. In general, when you have transaction, there is different type of transactions. For example, when you connect, and he was asking like for a signature, that's fine. You know that is like a signature. Normally signing is okay, but confirming a transactions with, let's say like a gas cost is normally much more dangerous and bad thing can happen. Yeah. So be more conscious. If you sign a phishing transaction, could it mean that your wallet is forever compromised? Any future asset and in that wallet could be siphoned out by saying scammer? Yes and no at the same time. So luckily, because they don't have access to your private key, they don't have complete access to your wallet, but maybe they have access to a specific collection. Let's go to this, for example, on Etherscan. I don't know if you're any of you is like really familiar on Etherscan, but you can, is a blockchain explorer. Maybe probably you've seen it with Isaac the other day, and you can, it's also very helpful to interact with contract. You can check the code, read the contract, and interact with the contract as well. So what this one is the most kind of like important function, which is called set approval for all for NFTs. So this function says this person is approved to do whatever they want with your NFT, transfer it, whatever, you know, put it on sale or whatever, which is another type of transfer, for example. So, but it ties to this token specifically. It ties to this contract. So usually, I don't know, when you have people, there was a fun time, but not really fun time for the people that have been scammed, but there was a time, you know, where a lot of bored apes had been hacked, and people were losing bored apes. They didn't lose any other assets. It's just that they were connecting to these malicious websites and saying, yes, set approval for all my apes, and the apes were gone, right? But if they had, for example, like an art block artwork, the attacker could not do anything because the approval was only for the smart contract. Let's say the Bored Ape smart contract. How might you tell the difference between, say, that fake art block site and the real one? Yes, it is about knowing what is the real address. So let's go back in here into the voyages. Let's list it for sale, and let's try to interact with the contract. Because as we said, what is my MetaMask doing now? Perfect. It's sending, you know, like a transaction, you know. I'm just confirming this access, right? How do I do it? I want to check if this token contract, and I can click on it, you know, like on MetaMask. You see, like I can just check, okay, is it the right voyages before I send the transaction? And then, you know, like you need to check as a like human being, check, hey, Vision is the token contract. Let's go to the voyages website. But for example, we could do, I think, where is the website link here? Yeah, let's go to the voyages official website, or to the voyages Twitter, or to the voyages whatever, to a separate source, but it's not the same website, of course, that you are like being exposed to, because if you check on the same website, it's going to be the same for sure. So like you go on Twitter, on the Discord, there is normal official links. Use always like two different sources, right? And it's somewhere that should be, there should be at some point, you know, like a contract address, which I don't remember where, but there was somewhere. Contact mint. Oh yeah, here. You see, Vision is the token tracker. Perfect. So when I go in here and they say, oh, like, is it the right token tracker? Can I check, like, is this the same? Like, Vision is the official source. That one is not an official source. I can check. So yes, no problem. I see, you know, because you have to head out. Let me just say before you leave that in general, you can, if anybody wants to have a one-on-one, have like to, you know, review their assets, they want to transfer their MetaMask to Ledger in a secure way. You have any questions, you can contact me here on Discord and ping me, or you can send me a tweet. I'll leave my all my contacts in here. So that's why we are here, like I know that is a lot to digest. So yeah, like any question is not a stupid question, please ask. No worries. And continuing to do so, yes, I'm gonna. Are there built-in safeguards on platform like OpenSea to ensure that projects that are uploaded onto their platform aren't scams, which drain the account of people who mint those projects? No. Unfortunately, OpenSea, it is. I mean, it's not really unfortunate. OpenSea, it is like they index anything, which is why a decentralized marketplace is important to have. But they can also remove things, which is a debate sometimes, because the real problem is that there is no way you can know if a project is malicious or not simply by listing it, So it's not like you cannot say, oh, if there is this function in the contract, it is definitely a malicious one, So yeah, there are not really there are ways where OpenSea not list things, but I will say, not really, in general, it is a bit of a debate, right? Like you want to have everything decentralized and permissionless, but then if I can delist you, I'm not a permissionless or decentralized website. There is a centralized entity that blocks something. But is it correct to block something because it's malicious? Yeah, you will say yes, But what if I block something that is not malicious just because of my intent? There was that big debate with like the I call it like the funks, it was like there was like a right flipped CryptoPunks, the images, like if you're delisting OpenSea then you're not decentralized, but it's not permissionless. So it was not a malicious website, it was just maybe like copyright infringement or maybe not. So there was a few questions in there, and I think it is a bit there is not a clear answer, but I will say no, there are not built-in. There are built-in safeguards of asking you to check and do things. For example, when there is a new collection that doesn't have much volume or stuff, it says, hey, are you sure, you want to interact with this NFT? Or if you want to buy this NFT at all, if you're buying some new collections. So there are ways, they do things, but it's not really like normally problems happens and then people report and then they list things. What was the list? Yes, that could be. But on that way as well, it is still a gated community, right? It is not open and permissionless. It is still, definitely is a good way to approach it, to approach the problem. If proposal to the list are subject to community vote, it's a bit like, like what we decentralized governance, right? It could be good, could be the purpose, could not be the purpose. Yeah. So a bit always there is always consideration to do. It's not always like a safe way to do it. There is something else about verifying that I want to just reiterate something that I was thinking before. So yeah, when you want to verify something, always use different and not connected sources. So for example, um, if you are in a Discord and it can be compromised, and you click in the website in such Discord, then it's maybe sending you to a not official website, right? But maybe like, I don't know, if you know the official Twitter of a project and the official Discord, then check that the information in both places are the same. Is what normally you do when you to avoid also something that is called a man in the middle attack, which is another type of scam and phishing attack. Let's say that I want to transfer an NFT to you, and but maybe it's not you, and you're chatting with me on Discord because your Discord account has been hacked, and I don't know your address. It's the first time you send me your address. I'm gonna maybe ask you in Discord, hey, like perfect. Okay, is this your wallet? And then maybe I know you personally, and I send you a message on WhatsApp, and I say, hey, can you confirm your wallet address? And you confirm it. If it's the same address from two different sources, that is very unlikely that they are hacked on the same time. Then I can verify that it is the right address. I don't know, like it's very important when you do like any trustless transactions or valuable transactions. I don't know, like a crypto uh, payment. Like sometimes, like I ask people to, like, yeah, send me your wallet. Uh, and they send me a wallet in Discord, and then I say, perfect, because I know your face, because you are doxed. Let's do a Google Meet, uh, and we check, and you can by voice and by video verify the last 4 digits of your wallet address and the first 4 digits of your wallet address, so I know that it's you that I'm talking about before sending, I don't know, whatever valuable piece of information or crypto assets. So yeah, these are different ways that you can ensure. Perfect. I hope it was useful. If you don't have any more questions, that's great. As I said, let me know if you need any help at some point. If you feel lost about security or crypto and blockchain, hit me up. Perfect. Thanks a lot, and have a wonderful rest of the day, or whatever, whatever time zone you are in. Ciao, ciao.